Adaeze fell to her knees before the throne. Tears streamed down her face as she stretched out both trembling hands towards King Obiora. "Your Majesty, please, I did not steal your necklace." The entire royal court fell silent. Not a single person spoke. Only the sound of Adaeze's crying echoed through the great hall. "I swear before the spirit of my late mother, I have never seen that necklace before. Please believe me." Her voice cracked with every word. She had entered the palace with hope. Now, she stood before the same king who had rescued her from poverty, accused of betraying him. King Obiora remained silent. His eyes stayed fixed on the frightened young woman kneeling before him. He remembered the day Adaeze had risked her own life to save Prince Chinedu from a deadly cobra. Would such a kind-hearted girl suddenly become a thief? His heart struggled to believe it, but the evidence lay before him. The king's golden necklace had been found beneath Adaeze's bed. The throne room remained heavy with silence. Then, Madam Nwaka stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we must not allow sympathy to cloud justice. The evidence speaks for itself. The necklace was found in her room. What more proof do we need?" The elders quietly nodded. Some servants lowered their heads. Others whispered among themselves. Perhaps the village girl had only pretended to be innocent all along. Prince Chinedu could not take his eyes off Adaeze. He remembered the terror on her face when she pushed him away from the cobra. No one risking their own life to save another person looked like someone hungry for wealth. Something felt terribly wrong, but even he had no evidence. King Obiora slowly rose up from his throne. The room immediately became silent again. "Adaeze, my heart wishes to believe you, but a king cannot rule with his heart alone. He must rule with justice. Until the truth is uncovered, you shall remain in the royal dungeon." The words struck Adaeze like thunder. She closed her eyes. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not because she feared prison, but because the one man who had believed in her could no longer trust her. The guards gently led her away. As she walked through the palace courtyard in chains, the same people who had celebrated her only days earlier now stared at her with disappointment. Some whispered, some looked away, others simply watched. Adaeze lowered her head in shame. She knew she was innocent, but innocence meant nothing when no one believed the truth. Hidden among the servants stood a young palace maid named Chika. Unlike everyone else, she could not bring herself to believe Adaeze was guilty. Something inside her felt uneasy. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Madam Nwaka noticed Chika standing alone, watching, thinking, looking unusually nervous. A faint smile appeared on Madam Nwaka's face. She quietly called one of the royal guards. Leaning close, she whispered something inside his ear. The guard nodded and immediately walked away. Moments later, he found Chika arranging clay pots outside the palace kitchen. "Chika!" She quickly turned around. "Yes, sir." "The chief palace attendant wishes to see you." Her heart skipped a beat. She forced a smile. I will come immediately. As the guard walked away, Chika stood frozen. A cold feeling settled deep inside her chest. Had Madam Nwaka somehow discovered what she had seen the previous night? Trying to remain calm, she slowly made her way towards Madam Nwaka's office. The large wooden doors opened. Madam Nwaka sat quietly behind an elegant carved table. She smiled, but something about the smile felt cold. Come in, Chika. You have been unusually quiet today. Is something troubling you? Chika immediately lowered her eyes. No, madam. I am fine. Madam Nwaka slowly stood up. She walked around Chika, carefully studying her face. Then, she stopped directly in front of her. You know, I dislike servants who don't mind their businesses. Chika felt her heartbeat quicken. She swallowed nervously. I understand, madam. Madam Nwaka smiled once more. Good. You may leave. Chika bowed respectfully before leaving the room. The moment the door closed behind her, she released a deep breath she didn't realize she had been holding. Her legs felt weak. She whispered to herself, she knows. She suspects me. That night, rain fell softly across the kingdom. Thunder rolled through the dark sky. Inside the cold royal dungeon, Adaeze sat alone on the damp stone floor. The chains around her wrists felt heavier than ever. She stared into the darkness. Everything she had hoped for, everything she had dreamt about, seemed to have disappeared into a single day. She lowered her head. Mother, I kept my promise. I never stopped doing good. So why is this happening to me? The tiny candle inside the prison suddenly flickered. A gentle wind passed through the cell. For a brief moment, the room became strangely peaceful. Adaeze slowly looked up. A soft white light appeared before her. Then, a familiar voice whispered, gently, my daughter. Adaeze froze. Tears instantly filled her eyes. That voice, she knew it. It was impossible, yet she recognized it immediately. Mother, the glowing figure smiled kindly. My child, the darkness around you is not stronger than the truth. You have been betrayed, but never allow evil to change your heart. The truth is still alive. It is only waiting for the right time. Adaeze reached forward with trembling hands, but before she could touch the glowing figure, the prison door suddenly creaked open. The light disappeared. The cell returned to darkness. The spirit was gone. Later that same night, Chika could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she remembered seeing the royal guard quietly walking towards Adaeze's room the night before the necklace was discovered. She remembered Madam Nwaka secretly handing him a small cloth bundle. At the time, she thought nothing of it. Now, everything made sense. Her heart filled with guilt. No, Adaeze is innocent. I have to tell her. Carefully, she slipped through the quiet palace corridors, making sure no guards were nearby. She finally reached the royal dungeon. Adaeze slowly lifted her head. Chika, Chika stepped closer. Her voice trembled. I don't know everything, but I know you didn't steal the king's necklace. Hope returned to Adaeze's eyes. You know? Please, tell the king. Chika looked around fearfully. I can't. If Madam Nwaka discovers that I know a thing, she will destroy me too. Before either of them could say another word, footsteps echoed through the dungeon. Lantern lights appeared around the corner. The guards, Chika whispered. She hurried into the darkness before the guards arrived. Neither of them noticed. A pair of eyes watching from the shadows. The following evening, Chika was carrying freshly washed royal garments through one of the quieter palace corridors. As she approached the eastern wing, she suddenly heard familiar voices. She stopped. One voice belonged to Madam Nwaka. The other was the same royal guard. Curiosity mixed with fear. Slowly, she moved behind one of the massive stone pillars, hidden completely from sight. She listened. Madam Nwaka's voice became clear. The girl is still alive. The guard lowered his voice. And the little maid? Madam Nwaka remained silent for a moment. Then she spoke. If she knows anything, she must never speak. The guard nodded. I understand. Chika's heart nearly stopped. She covered her mouth. Everything she feared was true. Adaeze had been framed, and Madam Nwaka was hiding something far more dangerous than anyone imagined. Very carefully, Chika began stepping backwards. One slow step, then another. She hardly dared to breathe. Just one more step. Crack! A dry branch snapped beneath her foot. The sound echoed through the silent corridor. Madam Nwaka stopped speaking. The royal guard immediately turned towards the darkness. The entire corridor fell silent. Madam Nwaka slowly narrowed her eyes. Then she spoke. Who is there? The royal guard tightened his grip on his spear and slowly began walking towards the pillar where Chika was hiding.